Hello and welcome. Today our format is a little different. As you can see, I've got a whole board happening. So I thought I would do it this way because there's a little more explanation to do for sales pages. So today's topic is strategies behind a sales page that converts. And as you can see, I don't really have my mic on, so hopefully you can hear me fine. And my head might be a little bit cut, but you know what? It doesn't matter. This is more important. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, I am Nadda Adamjee, and I am a brand strategist who helps women entrepreneurs, coaches, course creators, personal brands get fast online visibility so that they can get more sales or whatever their goal is, right? So if you're joining me from my branding group, then thanks for coming here and joining me live. If you're on my another page, then again, welcome. And if you're joining me from my profile, my personal profile, then hello friends. I'm glad you're here. So let's get started because we have a lot to cover. So let me just quickly, I'm going to be looking at my notes, and I'm also going to be looking at my phone just to make sure all my, if anyone's commenting, I'm seeing it, because StreamYard doesn't always show it, which is a shame. It shows it sometimes, but it doesn't show it every time. So that's a bit of a pain. But anyway, I don't see any comments right now, but you are welcome to comment whenever you think you need to comment. So let's start from the beginning. What is a sales page? A sales page is any page online where you're trying to sell something. And a traditional sales page looks something like this. But think of a sales page as a web page where you have certain components because you're trying to sell a product, right? Or a service or whatever it is that you're trying to sell. It can be low priced, it can be high priced. Pricing is not the problem right now. We're talking about just the format and what actually goes into a sales page, okay? And there are certain strategies that go behind it. So I'm gonna talk briefly about them because sales pages are very important if you're a business who sells something. And if you're a business, obviously you sell something, right? So let's start from the beginning. What are the must-haves of a sales page? So if you, and I'm not going to talk about just general sales page, I want to talk about sales pages that actually convert, okay? Because obviously there's, when you start selling online, you're going to realize pretty soon that even if you build a sales page, that doesn't really mean you're going to be selling. It doesn't mean that people are going to be lining up to buy your product, even if it's the best product or service, around. Because it takes time to build an audience. It takes time to get the leads, and getting the leads to come to your sales page and then actually buying from you is a whole different ballgame. Okay, so what are some of the strategies that you can use right now in your business to get people to convert, to buy in and say, yes, we want whatever it is that you're selling? Okay, so some of the must-haves are obviously, everything starts from the dream client. Everything starts from the customer, who's your target market, who is your niche, and then within your niche, who's your dream client, okay? So it's all like when you think of target market as a marketer, target market is important, but target market is a market. It's a big section of society. But then niche is within that. It's a smaller section within that. And then within a niche, you have a tribe, and that's the tribe. Those are the people that you really want to connect with. Okay, so everything starts with customer. As long as you understand that your business is not about you, your business is about your customer. Your business is about your dream client. How do you want to attract them? What problems are you solving? And how do you want them to basically, what are the solutions? How are they going to feel afterwards? So once you've got that figured out, then you have to, and also once you know your customer, you're going to understand the kind of language you want to use so that they feel connected to you and they buy into your product or service or whatever it is that you're selling. So customer is number one. Number two is understanding the problems that the customer is having, right? And so you are providing value to that customer. What exactly is that value? You need to be very clear on that. And how do you get clarity on it? You have to think of it from this perspective. I haven't written it down here, but maybe I should. Okay, so you have to think I or we, which is your company, help, like this is your customer, who do you help? Okay, what do you help them with? And the result. So I help the customer, whoever your customer is, to what's the result you give them, okay? And by, again, this is the process. So what's the process you use to get them that result? So if you can answer this question in literally like if you can fill this statement up quickly, you will know what your value proposition is in very concise and clear terms, okay? So that's first thing. So after the ICA, you need to have your value proposition. Once you have your value proposition, you need to understand the your product or service. What are the features and benefits of it? Okay. So the thing is that don't tell them the specifications. It's not like in physical products we talk about specs, right? In physical products, it's all about, oh, it's this big and it's this, this color and this big and this size, because it's physical. It requires you to mention the dimensions. But in the digital world, you really don't need to talk about the specs. You need to talk about the benefits. What are the benefits your customer is going to get? What are the results your customers get? The benefits are going to give them results. So you have to mention both. What are the benefits and what are the results, right? So these are, I'm just quickly going through it and then I'll explain to you this area. So I'm just like literally just giving you bullet points of what we're covering today. So, and then the other thing is obviously pricing. When you price your product, you should always on a sales page give pricing options, right? So you have the full price, and you should always give full price. Like if you pay in full, you're going to get extra bonus, or you're going to get, I don't know, like usually it's extra bonus or a certain amount of discount, or it doesn't even have to be discount. It can be full price. But then if you pay in installments, like payment plan, then it becomes more expensive, because each installment, when you accumulate it, when you combine the total price, it goes up, right? So that's the other way of doing it. But payment options are better because you want to attract your dream client. Might not be able to pay for it right now. Obviously, you want your dream client to be paying for it, but you should give them the options that if they don't want to pay in full, you're making it easier for them to access it otherwise. You can even give them a lighter version of the program, lighter version of the product, or other things like that. But that's completely your call or the business's call. So as I said, features and benefits are important because that is what's going to show your client what actually is in the offer. What is it that you're actually selling, and why do they need it, and why should they want to buy it immediately? Because see, there's a sense of urgency. If you tell them something, it doesn't mean that they're going to understand it. So you have to repeat that point a few times for them to actually grasp it, and for them to say, okay, this is who I am. They're talking to me. This is me on this page. They should see themselves. They should see that you're talking directly to them. Okay. So the other thing of that is handling objections and things like that. So handling objections are like, you must have seen like FAQs or like questions that other people have asked. So you basically preempt what questions or what issues or problems or roadblocks these people are going to have. And they might say, okay, it's too expensive for me, or I don't have the time for this, or why would I buy this, and what's the process and stuff like that. So if you preempt these when you're planning your page, you can sort of get rid of most of the objections. The other thing is social proof. Social proof and testimonials. So those are very important. Why? Because obviously that builds trust. That shows that you have done this before. Other people have tried it. They've got results. Because there's one thing me telling you that, that I'm amazing and, buy this because this is my offer and, you need this, you want this, blah, blah, blah. But there's another thing when someone else has used it and then they're saying, okay, I really got the results and this was great because of la-di-da-di-da, whatever. So those testimonials are important. So now let's break it down to what, like all these points that I've said, how they come onto the page. Okay, so let's say this is a sales page, general kind of sales page. This is just a general format. It doesn't have to be like this. You can switch these things around. But what doesn't change is this part. Okay, so this part, like the way it is, remains like that. Okay, and what does it have? So let's say this is above the fold. The reason why I have this line, it means above the fold. I've even written it here. And above the fold means that when you click on a link and it takes you to a sales page, this is what will open up in your screen. And this is before you have to scroll down. Okay, so this is what you will see immediately when you go onto a sales page. So this is the best part of the sales page. It should have all the information that a client that's coming on, a prospective client, because they're not your clients yet, the prospective clients, if they come on your page, on your sales page, this should give them enough information to want to scroll down. But if this answers their question and they don't want to know anything more, they have the option to buy it right here because this is the button. Okay. So, and you're going to like sprinkle the button around like in lots of places. So you're going to have it, obviously, it'll be here. It'll be like somewhere here. You can put like, I don't know, above the testimonials or wherever else. You can put it as many times as you want. It should be spread all over. So what goes in the above the fold section? So let's say like this number one, as I've mentioned here, is the headline. And the headline is the hook, or the headline as it's called. The hook is literally, the purpose of the hook is to hook you in like a fish, right? So it should be attention grabbing. It should be customer focused, basically you, whoever is the customer, right? So this should grab their attention and they should ideally feel like, okay, this is me, and immediately get drawn in, right? So this is probably one of the most important things on a sales page, the hook, because a lot of people are going to bounce, like they're going to either leave right after they see this page. Some might scroll down and read some more, but if this headline, if this hook is not good enough, this is the first area of fault. So this is where you should put a lot of energy and you should experiment and you should test, and you should have like, let's say 10, 15, even 20 different headlines before you put one here. So I remember in Marie Forleo, because I'm a B schooler, so in Marie Forleo's one of the lessons or one of the classes, I don't know, trainings, she did mention that she does 30 headlines before she puts the final one down. One of the techniques that I have discovered over the past couple of years is to have, like, to get me started, I don't think about headline as a headline. I think of it as a graffiti wall, that if I was going to graffiti it somewhere about like what this product is or what it does or something, if it was like a graffiti headline, what would I say? And so it's really punchy and it's really like concise and to the point. And then I build on it from there. And it serves me. It's not necessary that you follow the same process. You can follow what works for you. But this is something, so headline should be, like I said, you focused. that you call them out. You say, like, whoever your customer is, you call them out. And you mention the result. So there are two, three ways of doing it. One is that you can ask a question. The other is you can you can call them out and you can mention the final result, like, after they've bought all into your product and they've used it and they've utilized it, then what are the results they're going to get. So you mention the result in the headline. Okay, so that's one of the ways of grabbing attention. So moving on to the next thing. So after you've done the headline with the hook, then obviously there should be an image or there should be a video that is you. If it's a video, then it should be technically you, whoever's the main person, and you should talk about the product or the service, whatever it is that you're selling on that page. Talk about it and talk about the benefits, talk about the results, talk about those kind of things. And in this section, you sort of explain to them, you paint a picture of the pain. Like, if you are if you don't have that result already, which is why you're on this page, then what are the problems that you're experiencing at the moment? Like, what is it that you are going through, your pain points, what's like making you suffer? You sort of paint a picture of that. You sort of get into there, get in there and you talk about them, just to nail it in, just to make sure that they understand that it doesn't really have to be like this. This is, I know you're going through this, I know you have this problem, and you've mentioned what the solution is. You haven't mentioned the solution, you've just mentioned the result, that what if you're going through these problems, but this could be the result, you could be getting that result. So that's the thing. And then the third thing is, as I mentioned here, that would be a video or a photograph of the product. And then you sort of go into a little bit of which is the third point, which is like painting the picture of a better future, which links in with the headline that, once they get the result, then what kind of future could they be looking at? The problems are solved and now they're what are they? What are they feeling then? How is their life now? So you paint a picture that sort of shows them that dream, that wow, if I was that, I would love that. Why would I love that? So you're really painting that picture again. And once you've done that, another thing is that the format of the sales page, like I said before, you can switch some of these things around. This area you don't switch, that remains the same. And some of these things you can also make them like bullet points as opposed to paragraphs, right? Because bullets are always easier to read. So just make sure that you understand, again, that if your customer is coming on, would they read like paragraphs and paragraphs of something? I know I wouldn't, so you ask yourself that, would you read it? Would your customer read it? What is it about this sales page that's interesting? So it should be something that they can literally glance through and get the point. So you should have multiple headlines everywhere. You should have, and those headlines are not the same as this. Those headlines are literally subheaders. And they can be like blurbs and bullet points and stuff like that, just to switch up the format, so that the eye can just move along, right? Because you don't want a block of it's not a thesis, right? So it should be inviting. They should want to read it more. But even if they don't read it, if they just glance through it, they should get the picture. That's the thing. So what I was saying is, so once you introduce your solution, after painting the picture of how bad things are and how amazing the future could be, that's when you present your offer. Even though you've mentioned your offer here, what exactly that solution is, you've mentioned it here, but this is where you actually introduce it in detail, right? You mention what it is, you go into not the specs, but benefits and results. You go in, again, it can be bullet points, it can be images, it can be a stack of all the things that are included in this and the benefits of each of them. And then you go into testimonials. or social proof of anybody who's used it and what they've said about it. And that's a major thing. Like if you're new, for example, and you don't have testimonials, that's okay. Just work on getting testimonials because those are really powerful. But if you're new and you don't have testimonials and you don't know what to do about it, then the best technique for that everybody uses is to use your story. Like, why is it that you think this offer that you've created is something your client is looking for? Did you go through this journey yourself? Did you experience it? Did you create your product or service because you found that there was a gap in the market? What was the gap? And why did you find this solution? And how has that solution helped you? Right? So then you talk about that story. Again, keep it concise, keep it to the point, and like punchy, and like just showing what really needs to be, like why this is important and how it got you the results. Instead of going into this whole like melodrama of like how you develop this, and because again, nobody's going to read this whole pieces. They just want short, punchy, like bullet points or short paragraphs, not even paragraph, like two-line paragraph, like two sentence paragraph, I should say, not two-line paragraph, but 2 sentence paragraphs at most, right? So keep it like that and keep it very, very brief. And if you don't want to write all that, you can mention all that in the videos. If it's a video that you've got, you can mention that story in that video. So that sometimes is a better way of, again, getting people in. I think one of the other things that I haven't really mentioned, but it's in the points that I haven't gone over yet. So apart from the social proof and the testimonials and all of that, one of the main things that you should think about also is the format, right? So there is the really long one, which is way longer than this, and then there's a short one, like sales page, and then there are video sales letters, and then there's like really, really tiny ones. And then, like I said, you can switch these things around. You can get rid of something if you don't want it. You can add a lot more things. Okay, the first sales page I wrote, I think it had, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That had, I think, about 15 sections, and it was long, and it was like super long. Like I would not do that again, but it was fantastic as a learning learning tool for myself of what I'm not going to do again. But why would anybody have a long sales page? Let me just clarify that. If you need to explain your offer, if you need to explain your offer because this little information is not cutting it, and I just because I've made like 2 bullet points here and 1 bullet point here or whatever, doesn't mean that you need to put it like that. It means that if you need 10 bullet points to explain your point, then use 10. If you need to have 10 pictures, then put 10 pictures. If you need to have a longer video here to explain your point, then do that. Because the issue is that you need to convince the person who's landing on your sales page to buy from you. And if they don't know you and they've come on your sales page for the first time ever, they're likely not going to buy from you. So this has to convert them. So you are assuming that they've come on your page for the first time, or this is the first interaction. Most likely they're not going to buy from you, but you need to do everything you can to convince them that this is for them and why they should buy from you. So think of it like that. Think of it from the perspective of the person who's landed on this page, like I said before. So if you are if you think of it like that, then you do whatever it takes to convince them. So I haven't written the FAQ section here, but if you need to put that in here, you put that in there because you need to answer the objections. If anyone coming on here, they're going to be like, why would I buy from you? Then answer that. Why would they buy from you? Why should they trust you? Why are you the authority in this? Why do you think this is the right solution? So things like that. So whatever it takes to convince them, that's what you do. So if that that means that you need to have a long sales page, then make a long sales page. If afterwards you think that okay, you no longer need it because you've got enough testimonials, or your or you have a guarantee that's like rock solid, or or the sales page is converting well. If a sales page is converting well, then you don't really change it. But if it's if you feel that you no longer need a long sales page, a short sales page will do its job, then do a short sales page. But even a short sales page should have these important bits, which is the amazing headline, the pain points, the solution, and why this is the perfect solution, and then the testimonials and benefits and results. If it has a guarantee, of course, that's even better. But a lot of the digital products don't, but some do. So guarantees are always good, and pricing, obviously, if it's selling something, the price and the payment options have to be there. So those are the must-haves. You can't really get rid of them. That's why I said these are the must-haves. You can make it longer and add more things to it, like I mentioned initially with the FAQs and the objections, handling those, and more social proof and stuff like that. You can have case studies and things like that of clients who've gone on to do brilliantly or whatever in their life or business because of what they bought from you. Okay, so those can be case studies, but that's a later stage. That won't happen at the beginning, right? So anyway, now that we've talked about the long and the short sales letter, there's another point about that, by the way, which I forgot. That is that, yes, you make it as long as you need it to explain why they should buy from you, but there is a general rule of thumb in the industry where if your product is cheap or affordable, or it's a certain price point, then the cheaper the product, the shorter the sales letter. The more expensive the product, the more explanation you need to do. I kind of disagree with that to some extent. It's a good rule of thumb, but it's not perfect. The reason why I say that is because I think if you have a high ticket offer, if you're selling something which is, $1,000 and above, then you're not going to be selling from your sales letter. You'll probably be selling through calls. You'll probably be selling from one-on-one interaction. If that's the case, then your sales letter is not that important. Then maybe you should have a video here instead that sells for you, and then have a shorter sales letter. So that's my take on it. But every business is different, every niche is different. So you need to figure out what works for your customer and how you can convert them. So I'm just giving you the basics of what you should be looking out for. Okay, so now that we've talked about the solutions, and you're going to put that, the testimonials, and putting that, and if you don't have them, then what to do, which is to write your story and how this offer helped you. So then that's the thing. Pricing options, I mentioned already. Pricing options are always, if someone is paying something in installment, the installment total at the end should always be more than payment in full at the beginning. Because that's the incentive that, you need to give them the incentive to pay in full, because they'll be saving, $500, or they'll be saving whatever, and they'll get extra bonus or something like that. So that the incentive to pay in full is there. Because if I say that, okay, you buy this for $1,000, and this is the full price is $1,000, but if you pay in like 3 installments of $350 each, so that comes to $9, $10, $10.50. So like that's just a $50 extra. That's really not an incentive. That basically tells me pay an installment. So you should think about it like that. The installment should always total up to, like, not a little bit more, like a chunk more. Like it should be So then you can market it in such a way that, like, that you're saving X amount by paying in full, or you're getting extra bonus by paying in full. And so that, again, like I said, the incentive should be there. Okay, so after the testimonials and the payment, the guarantee. Like I said, some digital products have guarantees and some don't. Guarantee can be anything. Like, guarantee can be like, you can try for 7 days and otherwise money back. Or I know people have like 30 days. I even came across a digital product that had like a 90-day guarantee, which I've never ever seen anywhere. So it's up to you. A lot of the digital product creators or sellers don't have guarantees because it's a digital product. Is you just download it and you start using it. It's not like damaged. It's not like a physical product that could be like damaged and the colors faded or it came out broken or something like that, so that you can return it. In a digital product, it is what it is. So if you don't want it, if it doesn't work for you, then that's where this, again, sales page comes in. Be very clear that if there are no return policy, then mention that over here as well, because people need to, or mention that in your conditions, in your terms, because what the return policy is, or refund, not return, but refund policy for your product. So there needs to be clarity in all of that. So anyway, so all of that we have talked about now. Let me just reiterate this one. I think this is a very, very important point. To understand your value proposition, and value proposition is what makes you. Now, in layman's term, value proposition is a very marketing term. So let's talk layman terms. Let me just have my coffee as well while I'm at it. Nice. Okay. So what is value proposition in layman's terms? So value proposition would be something that makes you or your company better than anybody else out there. It doesn't even have to be unique. Okay, it used to be always unique proposition. Like, it doesn't really have to be unique. It can be something that other people are doing as well, but do not copy. How can you make it better? How can you put an element in there which nobody else is doing? That's your secret sauce, right? That's what you are bringing to the table. What is it that you're bringing to the table? Know that. Okay, so let me just say it. I or we, you can say either of that, doesn't matter. I help. Who do you help? So that's the fill in the blank. Like, who do you help? So I help coaches or personal brands to get fast online visibility, in my case, by coaching, by process, by training, so that they can get more sales. So for me, the sentence doesn't end here, but if you can just do this little bit, that is enough. Because I feel a lot of the times that I have asked people about, like, who's your niche, who's your client, they can tell me the niche, but they can't always tell me about the client. Sometimes they interchange the niche and the client. Okay, so remember this, that, okay, let me just go on this and explain it, and I'm going to use that. Okay, so if this is, can you see? Yes. Okay, so this is your target market. Okay, so let's say your target market is this chunk. And who is your target market? Target market is basically, you have to look at the psychographics, you have to look at the demographics. So demographics are all the things that are facts, like, their age, their gender, their education, their income level, where do they live, and things like that. Psychographics are stuff like how do they think, how do they react, how do they behave, what do they read, Are they religious? Are they not religious? Are they smokers? Are they not? Those are habits and lifestyle and basically the way they think. Psychographics nowadays is more important than demographics, okay? Because sometimes demographics, it's nice to know, but your target market could be different demographics, but they have something in common, okay? So that's why looking at both is very important. So let's say this is your target market, which is a big chunk within the whole population, okay? But then you have your niche. So your niche would be, let's say, this is your niche within the target market, okay? So your niche is more specific. So target market, let's say, is women 30 to 50-year-olds, and so that's the target market, and they are like, I don't know, live in a certain, like, married or not married or whatever. And then the niche within that is that women who are interested in technology, women who are interested in like selling online, women who are personal brands or stuff like that. Okay, so that is a further niche within the bigger target market. And then within that is your tribe. So the tribe is basically a more specific in your niche. So like I said, if this is like women entrepreneurs and this is like, within that they're like a specific area, like, I don't know, fashion businesses or course creators or whatever it is, that's the tribe within that. Now you can go even more specific and say within that tribe, this is my dream client. So this is the dream client. Now, who is this dream client? You can paint a picture of that dream client any way you want. So you know already that they're a certain age group, their gender, you know where exactly they're living, how do they think, what do they value, what are their habits, their lifestyle, you know that. And then because they're part of that niche, they're women entrepreneurs, they're interested in this, they have businesses, they do, they want to sell more, they want to design, they want to be more artsy, they have kids, they don't have kids, whatever it is that you know. And then within that, further in the tribe, that they're, I don't know, course creators or coaches or whatever it is. And then within that, what is it? Like, for example, specific subject, let's say they teach graphic design, or in my case, it could be that they're coaches and course creators, or they are personal brands who are finding it hard to sell, they're not getting visibility. So what does that mean? So that is essentially my tribe, but who is my specific ICA? Who is my specific dream client? Okay, so that is something that you have to figure out for yourself, and nobody else can teach you. You can actually also actually share it with me, and I can give you feedback on it. But know this, that when you have this sentence that I was saying, when you have that answered or the blanks filled, that's when you're sort of there already. But you can always fine tune that. So I would love to hear when you fill this sentence up and fill in the blanks. I would love for you to share it so that we can I can give you feedback on it and all of that. So I think I'm gonna just call it a day now, because we're already almost 40 minutes. So just to go, let's do like summarize what we talked about today. We talked about sales pages. We talked about high converting sales pages and what all they should have. So there are about 8 things that it should always have. A long sales page has way more. This is kind of shorter, but you can make it as long as you need it to be to explain your point to make that sale. Another point that I would like to say, if your sales page is not converting and you've given it ample time, then you need to go back in and you need to tweak it. You could, maybe it's the copy that needs to be tweaked. Maybe it's not highlighting the pain points enough. Maybe you need to do that. Maybe you need to, so you'll have to go in and tweak. Maybe it's the graphics that are not really working. You need to put in more. Maybe it's still too wordy. Maybe you need to, like, not have it so wordy. So things like that, you would have to go in and tweak. So it's not like your first sales page that goes up is going to be like, selling like hotcakes. No, it's a process, and you'll have to learn that process. And if you, on that note, I would like to share something with you. So thanks, Amit. He says great knowledge being provided. So thank you for that. So I'm going to put this banner up. So comment social if you would like a free social profile audit, just one social profile audit. And the process of that would be that, if you say that, I will reach out to you in the DMs, and you share your link, and I will give you an audio feedback on that, an audit of that. And the other thing I want to share with you is that if you are interested in knowing, this is it. If you are interested in knowing what platform do I use for all my sales pages, then I will create a video and share it with you again in the DMs with those of you who say show, and I will make a little behind the scenes kind of video and share that with you. So comment show if you want to see that. And if you don't want to see that, then don't say anything. If you want, again, social, if you want the social profile audit. Okay, on that note, I hope this was helpful, and I would love to hear your comments and what you'd like me to, if you have any questions about any of this, I would love to answer them. If you do write your sentence, share that with me. I'd love to give you feedback. And those of you who are joining me for the first time, I have a weekly on Wednesday live, so you can catch my trainings then. And it's always at 11 a.m. EST, which is Toronto time. So you'll have to calculate what it is in your time. So until next time, I will sign off, and let me just check if there are any comments and if anything I need to answer. Okay, so I don't see any questions, so that's cool. But if you do have any questions, you do comment below, and I will reply as soon as I can. Until next time, take care. Bye-bye.